The confrontation scene in Boss's office in episode 2. That is one of my favorite Jack and Joke moments. Okay, and I've banned that from your list because you already said that.
Okay, I'll say third confrontation scene then. From episode 2.
Oh my god. Should have known.
When he's got like him in a chokehold.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Can't stop thinking about it. So good.
Has got us in a chokehold as well. So hello everyone and welcome to the series discussion for Jack and Joker. Today we'll be going through our overall thoughts on the series, including things like the plot, as well as how we feel about the ending and the different relationships and characters and whatnot. So let's get right into it.
Woohoo!
To me, episode 12 felt quite underwhelming, which is obviously no surprise because episode 11 was such an angsty and relationship-driven episode. And, you know, like they were quite big. The lead up to episode 12, it kind of consisted of quite a big promise of some sort of really dramatic, angsty episode. And it ended up not quite keeping up with the momentum and the vibe that it had in episode 11. So to me, it kind of felt like it was going up, and then episode 12 was just kind of like whoosh, back down, you know.
I had similar thoughts. I said, considering like the build-up that we'd had from episodes even 10 and 11, I feel like it was just, as you said, building. It was building. And then when it transitioned into episode 12, it just sort of felt a little out of place. I think if it had just been another regular episode in the show, it probably wouldn't be as underwhelming. Did I hate the episode? No. Did I love it? No. But like, honestly, it could have been worse.
It was mid.
At least it had a happy ending. I just didn't think it did the entire series justice either.
That's an excellent point.
Which I guess reflects on, it's a positive thing as well because it reflects on like my thinking of the show being very solid in general.
To me, it kind of felt like they were tying up plot lines that didn't matter to me. So I would have liked their resolution to be as angsty as episode 11, but kind of address their communication issues. And then it kind of also felt like a lot of all the shit that they had to go through from 1 to 11 was brushed off because of that line from Jack that said nothing matters anymore. I want them to address it, and I don't feel like it has been. That for me also is kind of why it feels not unfinished, but a little bit unsatisfying. Just to think that there was no heavy enough reason for me to believe why they had to go through all of this angst from episode 10 to 11. Like, it doesn't feel justified. And yeah, if they were going to put us through child flinging and J.O. jumping off a building, I feel...
Someone's death,
Yeah, I kind of feel like you need to tie it up properly.
It was an okay episode, but for a series finale, it was not it for me.
I think I needed episode 6 vibes in episode 12. And something I went back to check, which I only realized after I was doing my ranking, was that the big plot twist, which is the 4 horsemen, that plot line was really only introduced in episode 7. So it's really only been 5 episodes building up to the massive twist. It's supposed to be the big reveal at the end of episode 12. But I would prefer if the big twist was something that they started developing early on in the series. My one main thought about the whole plot is that this plot just stretches the limits of plausibility.
I think in order to enjoy the show, I think you just have to suspend your belief, as you say, and just sort of roll with it. And I had a few things that I thought they missed like an opportunity on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They missed the mark on Jack and Joke sort of working together as a team. I feel like that was a huge missed opportunity, wasted opportunity, really. With the exception of episode 5, we didn't really get to see them working together, and I think that would have been great. It actually makes me a little bit mad thinking about it.
I think that's what the people wanted from the start. That's what I thought the show would be about.
I think if the episode 12 had been them working together on a heist or something like that, I think it would have been a lot more satisfying. And I still stand by my thoughts on some issue blowback from his time in prison as well.
Yeah.
I think that would have been really interesting plotline. Something coming back to haunt Joke, or something going wrong because he got on the bad side of someone in prison or something like that.
I mean, it was a massive part of the plot, but I kind of feel like there were a lot of other better options to go with than the Four Horsemen.
But I have to admit, overall, I genuinely love this show. I could see myself rewatching this show from start to finish happily.
Nice. I think it's quite layered. The way I look at the show, if it's in a graphical format, it would be the main sort of plot at the top. So that would be like the Four Horsemen stuff and stuff, shit with the evil boss. And then in between, it's like all those relationships. So then it's not just Jack and Joke, but it's with Grandma, with Toy Ting, with the gang, with Aran, with Rose. So that's the part I fucking love. Like, you can change the top layer to be any other story if you kept that relationship sort of driven subplot. I just absolutely loved it. And then obviously at the bottom is like Jack and Joke's relationship. I don't think that factors very heavily into the whole show. But if the bottom two layers, which is all the relationship stuff and the way the relationship develops from episode 1 through to episode 12, that was done so well. And that's what I would remember about this show, not the top layer sort of wacky plot stuff. That's interchangeable for me.
But I do appreciate the fact that they tried something a bit different from what's available out there in terms of BLs. Like, it makes the show stand out amongst like what I now consider a very overwhelming and oversaturated crowd of other BL productions.
Definitely.
Because when I first started watching them, pretty much if you'd watch one BL, you'd watched all of them. And then by like 2020, there was just so many that just came in that I couldn't keep up with them.
It's even worse now.
I was going to say, I find myself not wanting to watch anything because I feel like a lot of them are all the same. This sort of stood out as something that was worthwhile watching because it was a bit different.
So the next sort of theme I wanted to discuss was Jack and Joke's relationships. One of my main thoughts were that given all of these arguments and conflicts were resolved without much communication, especially in episode 12, and without clearing up any misunderstandings or getting to the source of the issues, I'm not very confident of the fact that it won't all happen again. I just feel like the moment they face any adversity, they're going to go through the same shit. Yeah, so like if Tadru decides to embezzle the funds from their learning center, what's going to happen now? Are they going to fight or are they going to communicate?
Can you imagine that for part 2? Tadru like embezzling funds
from their learning center.
Season 2 plot. That would be awesome, actually.
The script is writing itself.
And Arad could be like Evil Boss 2.0 or something.
He's taken on the legacy. Yeah, and then Hoi and Nang are now a couple.
I'm kind of digging it right now.
Yeah, no, I would watch that. I would watch that. I also say lots of apologies and thank yous from Joke, but what about Jack? Dude is no angel and he owes Joke at least an apology and a thank you for everything he's done, because I don't feel like they addressed the whole fight around episode 10 and 11 and why Joke stole the ring. They've kind of left us in limbo on whether or not Jack knew.
I love how you're stuck on that, because I totally forgot about that until you mentioned that the other day. I was like, oh, actually, yeah, he never got to say, oh, I did this because I wanted you to get out from under the evil boss.
I just need to know that he's been understood.
But do you feel like that because Joke was the first one to fuck up, sort of episode 1, 5 years previously, do you feel like Jack kind of holds that over him a little bit in a way?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, Jack can do no wrong. Joke was the first one to fuck up, and it was a big fuck up, so he's always the one that needs to apologize a little bit. That's kind of what it feels like a little bit.
To be honest, I think it's fair enough for Jack to hold it over him because he comes back into his life 5 years later and then he immediately does another heist.
I don't disagree, but I feel like there's an imbalance, I guess, between sort of, as you said, the apologies and the thank yous between them two. As you said, because it wasn't really discussed at the end there, you're kind of left in a little bit of limbo in terms of where they stand, I think.
I also feel very bothered about how Jack never really apologized for the shit that he did in the earlier episodes in mid-series.
The homeless comment still bothers me till this day, genuinely. Like, that is a stab to the heart. That hurts, that comment still.
Again, complaining about how Tattoo and Iran were not developed. That makes me sad.
I'm not even a fan of them, and even I'm annoyed a little bit by that.
Well, they made them matching hats. That was their canon.
I wasn't going to say that, but I was just thinking, like, they spruced in their scenes quite a lot, pretty much since episode 2.
Yeah.
And to have it kind of just go nowhere and fizzle out a little bit was, I don't know if insulting is the right word, but I think if I were a fan of them, particularly that couple, I think I would be annoyed. Save and Hope got more screen time than they did, particularly in episode 12, which really annoys me, actually.
Yes.
They were trying so hard to redeem Save, and I was just like, it doesn't matter what you do at this point. It's not going to work.
Yeah, why would you waste time on that?
Yeah, like, even I'm a little bit sort of, wow, that nothing happened really with them in the end. Maybe they are doing a season 2.
Yeah, led by Tattoo Iran, and they're the ones embezzling funds from the learning center. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to talk about Joke's Dead because it's been, we've talked about it to death.
But I agree.
I will say...
But do you know what's annoying, though?
You're like, we'll talk about it.
We have to. The thing, you know what's frustrating is, it was totally unrealistic, but there's a part of me that still likes it, which is really frustrating.
Because you love it for joke.
I love it for joke, and I love the character dynamics and sort of the relationship stuff, like what we were talking about earlier. And so I still love it, even sort of kind of hating it at the same time. It's a really frustrating feeling.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
I just want to talk about the quality of the episodes and how much thought that went into direction, filmography, the lighting, the wardrobe, the set design. Despite not being super satisfied with the plot, the quality of the production has blown me away.
Right.
Doesn't just feel like a Thai BL, like your typical Thai BL. It just feels like a full-blown show. And they're an independent company. So, like, props to them for putting so much into it. I also said that I know we question a lot of the actions of the characters and the need for suspension of belief a lot. But I just want to say, especially as we're wrapping it up, that has made the show, watching the show and the experience of watching it so fun for me. Yeah, it was such a joy to watch the show because... part of, like, I was just like, what the fuck for most of the series, and I love it. I did say it's a personal preference for me, but I did wish the tone of the show were a bit more serious at times, especially since they've showed that they were willing to raise the stakes with Jo and with the child flinging with Hoi Ting. And I just wish it were a little bit more tonally consistent so you can add humor into it. Just that as a whole, from episode 1 to 12, it wasn't super consistent. So let's just go into the ranking, which I think you are extremely looking forward to. Let's go into our favorite overall scene first. You know what I mean? Like, if you were to rewatch only one scene from this series for the rest of your life, which one would it be? Do you not have one?
I've listed so many. Okay, what's yours then?
No, you'll know. Okay, it's really obvious, but my absolute favorite scene from this...
Wait, do you want me to guess it? Is it from episode 6?
Yeah, well done.
Is it the school scene?
Yeah, it's the classroom scene.
Yeah.
It's my absolute favorite.
I have that as an honorable mention on mine.
Okay, I literally could not think of a runner-up. Like, that's it for me. This is the scene.
Okay.
Okay, go through your list of best overall scenes.
So I was having a think about sort of if I had to pick one when you were getting annoyed at me today. You're like, you have to pick one. I was thinking if I had to pick one, I don't know if it's my favorite. I would say there's a couple that are my favorites, but I'm going to pick the second confrontation scene from episode 2 purely because that was the scene that got me to want to watch the show.
Ah, yes, the one with the chin tickling.
Yeah. But it's equal rating to like a lot of other things I liked as well. But if I had to pick something, I'm going to pick that.
Yeah.
Purely because that got me excited to watch the show.
Yeah.
But you could honestly pick so many scenes from episode 2 for me.
Well, the one in our episode 2 thumbnail was pretty amazing too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I had to think what it was then. Yes. Yeah, so that's another one. I said any of the confrontation scenes in episode 2. I thought their first kiss was really special as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's up there as well.
Yeah.
And obviously the classroom scene in episode 6 is also up there.
Yeah.
So they're probably my ones.
Okay. I think I like the classroom scene so much because I feel like that was the point in which
Such a big moment.
Yeah, their relationship developed.
Huge shift.
It went from
Yeah.
situationship, no, not even, like maybe he likes me, maybe he doesn't, to yeah, he likes me. Yeah. It just felt so intimate. I felt like I was intruding watching it.
Yeah, I said, honestly, that classroom scene in episode 6 feels like a warm hug.
It does. It does.
I can see why that's your favorite. Yeah.
If they ended the series with a scene like that, I would be like, this would be a 10 out of 10 show for me. I think this is a good point to move on to ranking the episodes. Do we do last to first or first to last?
Oh, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that. Let's do like least favorite.
Okay, so my number 12 favorite episode is episode 12.
I thought it might be.
I'll give a summary of episode 12. Jack plays a dangerous game of hangman against Boss Ellis in an attempt to rescue Joke, Rosé, and save. I feel like the whole of our episode 12 recap explains why episode 12 is at the end for me. But I do say the reason why it's not even eliminated from the list as something I don't ever want to think about again is because of the Jack and Joker kiss scenes. They were amazing. I love those. And then I appreciate, Tattoo getting shot in the ass, Hoy's horrible gun skills, Joke's terrible English, and Evil Boss's evil cackling. So those are the stuff I try to keep it positive. I only talked about stuff I liked about the show. The fact that they were all really tiny moments that didn't really contribute to the plot apart from the kisses, I think that's an explanation for why it didn't quite rank so well for me.
12 is not my least favorite episode. My least favorite episode was episode 3.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Episode 3 is when, with Tattoo and Hoy by his side, Joke plans a heist at a high-end fashion show organized by Aran.
Yeah, by far my least favorite episode because there was too much suspension of belief throughout the episode. Like, I really enjoyed that one confrontation scene. I really enjoyed our discussion of it. I found that it was a lot funner to watch the episode now when we've picked out sort of like funny moments from it. But overall, it just wasn't my favorite episode. I will admit that the opening scene, like shenanigans, has grown on me because of our chat. But I think there was just very few Jack and Joke scenes throughout and too many unrealistic things that happened in it.
Your 11th favorite episode. So mine is episode 9. That's my 11th favorite episode. So in episode 9, Joke organizes yet another heist, this time to steal a valuable ring from Rosé's house. Rosé offers Jack an opportunity for wealth and power by her side. I did like moments from this episode, but I can only think of 2 standout moments, which is Jack's birthday celebration / grandma's welcoming home celebration. That was super sweet. And Rosé and her grace after having her proposal rejected. Those 2 were awesome moments, but overall, it was the only episode where I had to skip some scenes.
Right. You did mention that. I forgot about that.
I couldn't watch.
Yeah. My number 11 is episode 12. I said the Jack and Joke moments were incredible, and I will definitely go back to rewatch those, but there just wasn't enough of them in this episode. And the plot twist, as you've mentioned, just fell flat for me. It was the only thing that really fell flat in the whole show for me was that.
The plot twist.
That plot twist. Yeah. Because we've talked about episode 9. Episode 9 is number 10 for me.
Okay.
So I just said nothing much happened, but the ending kiss scene was enough to bump it up one more. Yeah, I think the heist just took up way too much time in an episode. The whole last 10 minutes of the episode is solid.
I forgot that scene was in episode 9.
I did too, because when I was ranking them, I was like, fuck, that's the kiss scene in episode 9. Like, shit, I can't put that as number 11. So, yeah. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is episode 3. So, I told you our bottom 3 are all the same, kind of.
They're similar.
But The reason why episode 3 won out a little bit, one is because I forgot that the kiss scene was in episode 9. Two, because there was the confrontation scene during the heist. So, the one where they like stare into each other's eyes. And then I'm an enormous fan of Nulek.
Yeah, you were really tickled by the whole like
the build
model
up
getting kidnapped.
And the muscle suit.
Look, I agree. I think that's why I've kind of got a note in there saying that the opening scene shenanigans is growing on me, but it's just stuck with my head. I just remember being so on cloud nine watching episode 2 and then having episode 3, and it was such a letdown. Not like a letdown, that's
a change in tone.
A huge shift in tone, and it kind of put me on the back foot. I was like, oh, is this not the same show? Or yeah, it was just, I did enjoy like that confrontation scene though.
Yeah.
But yeah, just not enough to change my mindset. So
all right, so my 9th favorite scene is episode 7 with Jack's grandma in critical condition. Boss makes Jack an offer he can't refuse.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm the same. Episode 7. We got the same.
Our last 4 are the same.
Yeah, I agree. The miscommunication between Jack and Joke was very irritating in this episode. It was a good episode for Joke, not really for Jack. And that homeless comment, I'm still not over it.
Yeah, that for me, the homeless comment is like my number one most remembered moment from that scene, and not that necessarily for a good way. It was more like a stab in the heart. But I also, just from episode 7, really love what I personally really love watching characters, like the angst out of someone not coming back for a meal or something. And it happened to both of them in one episode. So I love that. And then also I love the sandwich flinging. It was so out of left field.
Oh, okay. I hated that. That felt so out of character for Joke for some reason to me.
I know. He was just blinded by love. You can't explain these things.
Yeah, no, that was a very frustrating episode 7. But because it had really good moments between them, even though it was frustrating, it ranks higher for me.
I'm surprised. I thought episode 7 would be lower down.
Nah, because I really like the stairwell scene.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd like that. I was frustrated by that. Number 8. Mine is episode 4. Joke builds a relationship with Jack's grandma in an effort to apologize for his past mistakes. And it's when we go through Jack's background.
Mine was episode 1.
Oh my god. Okay, that's so different. I hadn't expected that at all. Episode 1 is when Jack and Joker meet at a bar, both feeling disappointed in their lives. Jack just fell short of making the national taekwondo team, and Joke is wrestling with a lie that he told his parents about passing the medical school exam.
While I thought it was a solid intro episode, it's just not my favorite to rewatch.
Okay.
It had some really good moments, and I love the first meeting between Jack and Joke, but I would say I prefer sort of the 5 years later Jack and Joke characters.
Yeah.
And not really this preteen kind of version of them. But I do say, like I said, the wonderful bank scenes in it, so
that elevated it.
I think that elevated it to a new level. So that elevated it above episode 7. So.
Well, I chose episode 4 because I liked Jack and Grandma's joint dumpling fight in episode 4, and I guess that's when Joke and Grandma's relationship first builds up. And then in that very last scene, Joke's letter to Jack, and when Joke actually packs up and leaves, and they film him actually sitting next to him speaking in person, I thought that was a really nice touch.
My number 7 was episode 4.
Oh, okay. Why did that rank higher than 1 for you?
Because there's more scenes in it that I would rewatch. And as you said, it was the intro really of Grandma and Toy Ting as well. They really had quite a lot of scenes in here, really good moments. And it was also the start of, it was still angsty and it was still like the era of Jack hating Joke, but it was sort of the start of the forgiveness arc, I guess.
Yeah.
And of them coming together. So there's, I think, a lot more sweeter moments, cuter moments in episode 4. And that's why it ranks a bit higher.
My number 7 is episode 5. When Jack, Joke, and Iran find a cause that they can all align in to steal Iran's mother's necklace back so that it doesn't fall into the hands of a woman he hates. I thought, so it was a high, so it was quite action packed. So in general, that has me quite disengaged. But I will say that the choreography with the fight scenes was awesome. It was the what little moment of Jack and Joke fighting on the same side that we got,
Yep.
and obviously
Yep.
that disguise was pretty incredible. How greasy and gross it was. But this was the forgiveness episode. I love the whole
Yep.
theme of forgiveness throughout this episode. And I also low-key like Aran and Rose's bickering. Also really love watching Joke's head getting smashed in by a bottle. I thought that was really cool. You go into your number 6.
All right. My number 6 was episode 8.
Okay. Episode 8 is when Jack gets involved in a dangerous game as he tries to help Rose out of her engagement.
It was a good episode for Joke, not so much for Jack. And I feel like Joke became sort of like the hero character in this episode because Jack was sort of off just playing a game, essentially. And it was nice to see, I guess, the tables being turned with Jack being the one that had to make amends a little bit and Joke sort of coming into his own and sort of, you know, I said being the hero type character. And yeah, I love the angsty kind of confrontational scene between the two, but I didn't really like the game thing that went on. It went on a little bit too long for me. I did enjoy the hospital scenes with at the end where they kind of made up and they're like spooning each other or whatever, and also like the scenes with the brother and the dad all in there. I do enjoy that, but I think the episodes that are higher than that had cuter moments, I guess, overall than episode 8. But it's still like top 6, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Top half.
So episode 8 for me.
My number 6 is episode 1. I love the character and world setup. I did enjoy the scene of them first meeting in the bar, and obviously the bang scene was awesome. So I found that whole scene very, I don't know, like very comfortable to watch.
Solid intro.
Yeah. I love the ending of episode 1 when they were switching
to
between Jack and Joke in the car, but they're going off in different directions. I might go into my episode 5, my number 5, because
go for it.
My top 5th favorite is episode 8. I was surprised it wasn't higher, but it was pulled down by the game. It was like my own reasons, but I liked their confrontation scene in the house while Tattoo's mum was being threatened outside. That was just hilarious to me. It wasn't even angsty because the whole time I was like, there's some shit going on outside. This was the episode where they developed Joke and his relationships, both with Grandma and his dad and brother. And his dad and brother. And also being able to watch Grandma speak up on behalf of Joke to his dad was awesome. Love that. And dancing in an empty bar. I can never forget that scene. That's so funny. Cringe to hell.
No comment.
You hate it, I know. And also, I think this is the scene where they communicated the most because Grandma forced them to in the truth game.
True.
Which is pathetic. I mean, it's not great. So that was what I liked about it. But it doesn't give me the same feels as the top 4.
My number 5 is episode 5.
Okay, why? Why was it so high up?
It was the only episode we got to see Jack and Joke working together.
Okay, yeah.
Throughout. And there was a lot of cute bonding moments, like when Joke was injured and Jack was helping him, when Jack was injured and Joke was helping him. And it was also the episode where Jack forgave Joke, and it was sort of like their fresh start as well. It was just, they were in so many scenes in episode 5. That's why I think I like that, even though I often forget what happened in episode 5. I think when I was trying to like remember what was in it, I was like, oh, okay. It's got X, Y, and Z scenes. And I was like, that has to be up there. My number 4 was episode 11.
Wow, okay. Episode 11 was when Jack and Save returned to play the game of the 4 Horsemen, which is Monopoly, in an attempt to fight back against Boss Alice. So why was it in your number 4?
I don't know. It got me so hyped for episode 12. I think that's why episode 12 was so underwhelming, because episode 11 was so angsty and so intense and emotional throughout. And the opening scene was just so good. All the emotional scenes in this episode were just amazing.
Yeah. I'm surprised it's not higher up for you. You loved it.
Yeah, I think the other three are way higher up for me.
My number 4 is actually quite different.
Is it gonna be 2?
It is 2.
Yeah.
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 I was like, I like it, but not enough to put it in the top 3. So episode 2 was when Joke spends 5 years in jail thinking of ways to make amends with Jack. While Jack seems unwilling to reconcile, Joke meets Hoy and Tadu, 2 debtors who have a plan to get Jack out of the boss's clutches. I love the tension in their scenes. I think that was amazing. Obviously, you know, with the confrontational scenes, Yin and War got to show off just how much chemistry they've got. I did say that I might actually prefer them we're enemies but I'm attracted to you kind of vibe rather than working on the same side, and how they were in the latter episodes struggling
agree.
to communicate.
I saw a tweet this morning that was like, oh, the Jack hating Joke era was top notch or something like that. And I'm like, I totally agree with that. I was a little bit disappointed when it kind of ended with Jack being a good guy in the end. I think we talked about this in our first episode that we reviewed.
I wish that the show went another way and Jack did end up becoming a total asshole. They kept up this Jack hates Joke and Joke keeps chasing after Jack kind of thing until something really shitty
100%.
happens, and then Joke decides to leave, and Jack realizes how much he loves Joke and has to go chase him back.
I could not agree more, because that's what I was thinking it was going towards.
What I thought about the show in episode 2 is not what the show ended up becoming. So my third favorite episode is episode 10, when Boss moves quickly with his newly acquired power. It's third because of the kiss scene and all the couple scenes and the way that they went there with Carbon, Toiting, and Jo. I actually would have loved if I would have watched the show if it was the same vibe throughout. And then you had Rage Mode Jack and the ending in the hospital. That was sick. Loved it.
I was the same as you. Episode 10 is my number 3. And this was the episode that was only an hour long. And so much happened in it. It was an absolute fucking roller coaster. I'm pretty sure War even tweeted like a gif of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just so perfect. As you said it, the deaths and the Toy Ting being flung from a balcony essentially just amped up like the series to the next level completely. And I said this line, it said it started with a bang and ended with an even bigger bang.
Yeah, you were so excited at work when you watched 10 and I hadn't watched it. You were just like, I think that's all you were thinking about all day.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, so much happened in that episode, and the ending, I was like, oh my god, the angsty vibe of the ending was just chef's kiss. It was so good.
And the start and the end were like from 2 different worlds.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, and then when I went back to rewatch it again to write my notes, I was like almost crying at the end of it, and it opens with them screwing each other. And like it was just like a bit of whiplash. I was like, shit, I forgot how it opened, you know. My number 2 was episode 6.
Okay, yeah. So 6 was when Joke helps Jack take a step forward in achieving his dream of opening a school. That's it. Oh, okay. That's a very short recap. Thank you, IMDb. Again, it does not encapsulate what the episode was about at all.
It was just the fluffiest episode. Great moments between Jack and Joke. They really started to become a pair in this episode. And despite the shitty ending, overall, it's probably the nicest episode overall to rewatch all the way through, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't painful.
Yeah, much needed reprieve in the middle of the series, I think.
My number 2 was episode 11.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why was it number 2 for you?
When you were talking about episode 11 a lot and I hadn't watched it, I thought I would hate it because of how angsty it was. But I loved it. If I were to rewatch any episodes, 11 would be amongst them because I loved the angst. I don't think there was too much of it. It was actually very manageable for me. And then also a lot of humor.
You said that last week. I'm like, what are you talking about? I said it was so angsty, like from start to finish. I feel like this is the biggest disagreement we had.
So I read a lot of Danmei as well. And the level of angst here is like maybe 10% compared to some of the stuff that I've read. And so I think I'm desensitized to angst. So this to me feels like watching Jack and Joke slowly work out a miscommunication. I don't feel like the stakes were very big, but then they interspersed it with like the humor, the plan A, B, C, and D, and the dog scene. I was just interested. I was engaged the whole episode, and I also really love watching them cry.
The lack of Jack and Joke for me makes it lower.
Oh, okay.
Even though it was really well done episode. Yeah.
I love the angst. Oh.
I do too, but there was so much of it. Like, I'm not even kidding. Joke was crying in every scene he was in.
For some reason, it didn't hurt me. I don't know.
Oh my God. Wow.
Okay.
And number 1, episode 6 for you?
And 2 for you, right?
The reason I like 2 so much is it's because whenever I think about the show, I think of episode 2. It had all the scenes in it that made me want to watch the show as well. And I'd love them 5 years after their meeting. They're more mature. My number 1 moment has to be my number 1 episode.
Consistent. Oh, same for me. No, for me, I think maybe episode 6 feels a bit more special because of all like the Chinese cultures and traditions that they incorporated into it. And I felt like I could relate to a lot of things. So the meal scene, the scene where they give each other the red packets, that all feels so close to home. So yeah, from start to end of episode 6, I just love every element of it. And then they had that scene where they were in the bathroom together, and it just felt like the most domestic thing ever. I just loved it.
It was number 2 for me, but
yeah. I get it. First impressions are powerful.
First impressions are hard to break. Yeah. I'm just a sucker completely for the haters to lovers trope. And to me, that was completely what episode 2 was. And I wish there had been a lot more of that. But yeah. All right. Well, that's interesting.
That was interesting.
We're quite similar.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe then most other people would feel similar to us. I don't know. Keen to know. I was thinking we could switch gears and go to the most cringe moments.
Oh God, I'm so ready for this. My number 1 cringe moment. Come on, you know what it is.
The bank heist?
Yeah.
Really?
Number 1, without a doubt.
Isn't it a good cringe? A good cringe.
No, not at all. Nah. I mean, we definitely laugh about it a lot now, and it's become kind of a bit of a running joke, but number 1, that'll never be usurped by anything. It's left such a lasting impression, just not for the right reasons. I mean, I can laugh about it rewatching like what we had to say about it now.
Yeah.
But watching it first thing, I was like, damn. It almost turned me off watching the show a little bit, I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah. If it hadn't been for episode 2, I would think I would have really struggled to keep going with the show.
I see all the cringe scenes affectionately, not I think it's quite different.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be able to guess your one at all.
I have very high cringe tolerance, I think, because I'm looking at my most cringe. I have 2.
My number 2, though, is what you said, the dog barking scene. I hate that. I want to scrub that scene from, like, my retinas.
Really?
And my memory so bad. I hate it. I hate it so much. It was the only scene that I skipped, I think, in the entire series.
That is so different for me because I wish I had the opportunity to act out that scene. That looked like so much fun.
Oh my God, no. I hate that so much.
No, I feel like Yin loved it. You could tell he was holding in his laughter the whole time.
No, I couldn't. No, I can't. Thinking about it's making me just like go, oh God.
Really? Okay, what other scenes have you got?
I would say cringe where the chest tattoo reveals.
Oh, okay.
Is another one. That was quite a what the fuck moment as well. And my last one was Jack calling Joke a homeless person who likes to cling to grandma. I'm still not over that comment.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I understand that one.
Cringe, and it makes me rage. Can you tell me what episode your one is from?
One is from episode 9 and one's from episode 8.
Episode 9. So the heist.
The ring heist.
Jack's back. I think it's really coming to mind. Oh my God, this is so interesting.
I don't think it was cringe for you at all. And for me, it was such a throwaway scene, but that's the things that get to me.
Oh, because you said you skipped a lot of like the heist stuff.
Yeah, I forwarded through a lot of it. Maybe it was just a culmination of the whole thing and how inept everyone was, but I had to skip the champagne scene where Joke had to go into the scene and Jack was sitting right there. I had to skip it. Like I couldn't. That was the one scene where I was cringing so hard that I had to just
Really?
skip it, because I just think that Drake's an idiot. I mean, it was just so stupid. It's just the randomest scenes that get to you, because
I know. I would
yeah.
never have guessed that.
And
So is
then
that your number one cringe moment?
nah, it's equal to the other one, which is Lompren and
Okay.
his power imbalance game. That was cringy to me, with him sitting on the couch covered in dirt. I felt cringe. Like, I was like, ugh. Yeah.
I don't know if it's cringe per se, but it was definitely uncomfortable.
That went to cringy for me.
Interesting. There's such random moments.
If you asked me if the show was cringe, I'd say no. They're basically throwaway moments.
Wow, you have a very high tolerance.
Let's go into like the best disguise.
I think you know what my favorite one is. I've also got my least favorite one in here as well.
Okay, I know your least favorite for sure. It's episode 3.
Yeah.
Joke.
Yeah.
Blondie.
Yeah.
Mr. Blondie. If I had a least favorite, that would probably be it.
It just didn't work for me.
Is your favorite the makeup artist? Because that's mine.
Yeah.
It's just shocking how well he pulled it off.
It was so good. It was unbelievably good. The mannerisms,
The voice.
attitude.
I don't know how he did it.
It was all on point. Best by a mile.
I actually kind of have it tied with the greasy trucker guy, just because I think Joke did an amazing job at acting it out. Like, he was willing to go pretty far to I think he was willing to kind of throw away his image to do that, and I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I like
fair.
the cringe humor and the over the top humor. That's
You
why.
really do.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much, because I was going to say, like, the episode 3 disguise and that disguise are bordering on cringe for me. So,
Oh, okay. Well, 3
yeah,
just doesn't suit Joke. I think they did mean for it to kind of look really good on him.
Best crying scene?
Okay. I've got one clear one. The start of episode 11 in the hospital, with the tear falling right as Jack punches the wall next to Joke. Clear favorite.
I thought it might be that one.
Yeah.
Mine is just said any of them from episode 11.
Because there was so much tears.
I do think the scene when he's alone in his room crying was really good. But then I was like, also the Joke and Grandma one when they're hugging.
Yeah.
That was really good too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's just too hard to pick that.
That's true.
So just episode 11.
I also had episode 7 actually as a runner-up for crying scenes. The one scene at the end of episode 7 when they're like fighting about Rose and they flip back and forth between Jack and Joe and they're both crying.
I agree with that. I would say Yin in that scene was very good.
But just the way it was filmed and edited together was so it was beautiful.
Yeah, let's do best look first.
Okay.
Okay, I think you know what mine is.
Okay, I know what yours is because you requested for this category to be added to our ranking. But you go say it so we can add a clip of it and you can stare at it while you edit.
Okay. Jack's opening scene in episode 2.
Okay. Yeah, we get to see it every time the title credits run.
I still think about this scene to this day. Like, he looks so good in all black. And also the way the scene was shot as well was really good. I think we talked about that. And honestly, anytime Yin/Jack is in all black is an absolute win. I would say even episode 2 in general, Jack looked really good. You know, like that from start to finish. But I will say I have honorable mentions of, you know, the scene in episode 11 where Joke is sitting on his bed writing in his notebook and he's crying and he's got like that kind of orangey sort of...
Yeah, that's my favorite scene, but it's my favorite serious scene.
Yeah, for some reason he looked really beautiful in that scene.
It's because he was wearing clothes that were very flattering for his skin.
It looked great.
Yeah.
Like the lighting through the window and everything and...
the framing.
Like teary-eyed. Yeah, it was just really nice.
I split into like serious scenes and funny scenes because I couldn't pick, but the serious scenes, yes, that was the episode 11 scene. I thought he looked amazing. I can still see it in my head, so I really like that. And then for the funny look, my favorite, absolute hands down favorite, was Hope with his unicorn hairstyle in the ABCD scene.
Fucking hell.
Because Okay,
Are you kidding me right now?
I'm sorry. I love it. I would print a picture of that and put it up in my room.
Oh my god. That wasn't even on my radar. Like, I forgot about that until you mentioned it.
That takes best look for me. And then with Hoya by his side with the upside down neon yellow sunglasses, that was hilarious. I think Joke and Nurlek scene in episode 3, that's a close runner up for me in terms of best look.
Right.
But yeah, Joke looked so good. And the fact that he was unashamedly trying to seduce Nurlek.
Yes. I think that's what it was. It was an element of him looking super confident and I've got to be flirty.
Yeah.
And the way he walked up, like all cool
with the music,
and, like, casual.
And then you're like just going like, oh.
Like fangirling, like.
Funny moments. I think you can guess a lot of mine now. But the Plan A, B, C, D, for sure.
Oh my god. That's honestly, that originally was in my cringe moments.
What? The gang fight scene? Come on.
Oh my god, stop, please.
I love it.
Absolutely not.
No, that's the best.
You do.
Most funny moment. And then detonating a run's dead. Come on.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
Those are my top funny.
That's
my top funny moment.
Okay, I have completely different ones.
So I had the Plan A and Plan D specifically, which was hilarious. And then I added Nurlek and Joke scene as well, but we already talked about that. For me, the dog scene is in there as well. Like, I find
it... stop! No, that's in my cringe scene.
I know. I find it so hilarious. It was actually so funny for me. So that one's in there, and the bank scene is in there as well. So all your cringe scenes.
No, but do you know what I wrote here? I said, does the bank scene count? I'm still ranting about it to the point where it's become a joke now.
It's
funny. The bank scene is also in funny moments. Yeah. It's also in my funny moments as well.
Okay.
But it's still cringe.
Okay, it can be both. And then I have one more. Okay. Which I also can't get out of my head, which is the Crops, Crows and Beauty Queen scene. I
forgot about that. That is so cringe. I'm
sorry.
That is 100 million % cringe. No, that is cringe extreme. Oh my god. That's like a new category for me. That's like most extreme cringe.
Really?
And that is in it.
Is it? So the reason why it's not in your list is because you forgot about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely my funny moment scene. Oh, I loved it. It was so funny. It wasn't cringe at all for me.
I did laugh when Hoy started crowing, but that was about it. That was it.
No, and then when he put the tiara on Aran's head, do you not just like fucking die? I died of laughter.
I didn't know what was going on, so I was just like, what is the funny part? Just, no.
Very different then.
I couldn't disagree anymore. Our funny moments are so different.
Okay, I want to know yours. Shit. That's all I've got.
I've kind of already mentioned a couple. So the bank scene, obviously, has become a bit of a funny running joke between us. I feel like every time we run into each other, we mention something about
the bank scene.
Yeah. I have to admit, the joke spelling error in episode 12 caught me off guard so much that I think it'll be a scene I immediately think of in the future when I'm thinking about this show.
Okay.
Because I laughed so hard with that reveal.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if this is necessarily the scene or more about our discussion afterwards about it, but the tattoo reveal at the start of episode 2 is also like a funny moment now for me because we laugh so much about it.
It's cringe too.
It's both. I will say episode 3, the start, like all the shenanigans that went on. So the kidnapping the model and the stylist getting drunk, transporting them to a tip like 6 hours away, the phone hitting the model in the face.
Yeah.
The muscle suit, the fart gag, the sponsorship scene.
Oh, yeah, the moisturizer.
And the fact is, it's still my least favorite episode, but I think it's because of that disconnect between what episode 2 was to what episode 3 was. And it's a first impression. Like, I can't, episode 3 is still my least favorite, even though the whole first half an hour has some of the funniest shenanigans going on.
It's hilarious.
I appreciate that now.
Yeah.
But I didn't at the time when I watched it. I would say when the grandma was overhearing their questionable conversation that they were having in their room.
Yeah.
And her reactions.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
She was cute. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
That was really cute. A lot
of these scenes.
Ending of episode 8 when Joke kept mentioning Rosé, like he was taunting
Jack.
Jack.
Okay. Yeah, I know you really like that scene.
I find that That was really funny. Just every opportunity just brought up Rose.
I'm editing that now, and you were like cackling when we were discussing that.
It's so good. I love that. And then just like another little slight moment is because initially I hated the scene, but the scene where Hoy and Taru were trying to rob Joke in episode 2,
Yeah.
and then they turn into the hostages.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I find that quite funny now. Yeah, I appreciate that scene a lot more. So yeah, they're my ones.
Okay. I agree with all of them. I just
Yeah.
forgot a lot. Last category. So my first one is they're getting to know each other scene in episode 1 because in the bar, because duh.
Yep, I have that. That's episode 1 for me, is the bar scene.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice start together.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that scene. It was the start of something
Great
new.
scene.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
The confrontation scene in Boss's office in episode 2. That is one of my favorite Jack and Joke moments. Okay, and I've banned that from your list because you already said that.
Okay, I'll say third confrontation scene then. From episode 2.
Oh my god. Should have known.
When he's got like him in a chokehold.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Can't stop thinking about it. So good.
Has got us in a chokehold as well. And then my next favorite Jack and Joke moment is the forgiveness scene from episode 5. Like the very last scene after the heist. And then my last one you definitely won't have listed. 100%.
Oh god.
Because it's the scene in the hospital in episode 11. The opening scene.
Oh no. I definitely have
that. Oh, really? I thought you were only going to list like happy moments, not,
No, I said opening scene where they fight.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's... I thought that you wouldn't have that. So, yeah, that's my other one. So those are my 4.
Obviously, episode 3, confrontation scene. Can't go by it.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Okay.
Episode 4... when they're bickering in front of grandma, I love that scene so much because the grandma is just like...
not on Jack's side.
So unhelpful for Jack in that scene. It cracks me up.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's almost like a funny moment for me. Episode 5 for me was Jack and Joke fighting together for the first time.
Oh, okay, the fight scene.
Like when the 2 guards have like Joke over the bar and holding him down, and then Jack pops up and then just smashes someone with a bottle, and then Joke kicks him, and then Jack flies over the bar and kicks the guy.
The fact that you remember this choreography is amazing. I can't remember
Well, I have to edit it. I know things so intimately because I have to edit everything.
Oh, I see.
So, like, I can't like not think of like details like that. We've already mentioned episode 6. That's a pretty obvious one.
The classroom scene.
Yeah, that was good. I will say I did like the scene, where they're at that like food stall, J.O.'s food stall, and Joke's like promising Jack that he's not going to thieve anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I love that moment between them. That's a good moment as well.
That was, yeah.
Yeah. Episode 7, obviously stairwell scene's great, but I will admit, I'm not going to lie, when Joke was walking off on Jack at the end of the episode to go see Grandma and look after her, after he confronted him about the homeless comment.
I don't remember any of that. Fuck.
So remember when Jack he's already eating and he's like, where have you been? Like, come and eat dinner.
Yeah.
And Joke walks in and he's like, did you really mean what you said about me like latching onto grandma and being homeless? The homeless comment, that scene.
Oh my God.
And then when he's getting a call from Boss.
Yeah.
And then Joke goes, I'm going to go look after grandma.
Oh, yeah.
See you later.
Yeah.
And he walks off him in. I don't know why that moment is so satisfying. And episode 8, I would say low-key love the scene where Joke burns his hand.
Oh, yeah.
He's sort of just like dismissing like Jack the whole time, like go back to where you were kind of thing. I don't know. That was great. I love that.
Yeah, this didn't hurt me as much as you hurt me.
Episode 9, I mean, I think we all know. Kiss scene.
Oh, okay. God, you see, I'm forgetting everything.
Episode 10, like,
Kiss
do I
scene.
even need to say it? Opening scene.
Yeah.
But also, I love the moments between Joke and Jack with Toy Ting in this episode. Episode 11, the opening fight scene. And then episode 12 was the they're about to die kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they were mine.
Okay.
So,
no, fair enough. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. It's such a nice way to go through, to sort of recap what we have watched, because 12 is a lot of episodes, and just talk about what we loved about it. So yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to Two Girls and One BL podcast. If you enjoyed our discussion, don't forget to subscribe to us and leave us a comment.
We'd also love to hear your thoughts, so follow us on socials, YouTube, and Spotify at Two Girls One BL podcast. See you next time.
Bye.
Dun ding.